Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Oli. If this is your first time, then welcome, and if it's not, then welcome back. So I'm really excited about making today's video because I feel like I've come to a bit of a revelation when it comes to eczema and having dry skin and, you know, what causes it and these sorts of things. If you like these types of videos, if you're a fellow eczema sufferer, if you know anyone who is an eczema sufferer, then please do share these videos, please like, and please do subscribe. But I think I've said in a few of my other videos that since I've been in this flat, my skin just hasn't been that good. It's sort of had ups and downs, but if I compare it to how my skin was last year when I had mostly very good skin, apart from a few times here and there when perhaps I'd been on holiday or perhaps I'd, you know, been extra stressed or something like that, then since I've been here, it just, for the most part, it hasn't been that great. And I've said in some of my other videos that I thought it was to do with the fact that I've been a little bit more careless with my diet and that I've been a bit more stressed and there's been lots of movement. It's been hard to sort of get into a good routine here. But this past week or two, my diet has been really good. I've been sleeping loads, I've been pretty relaxed, and I still keep waking up with sores around my mouth. I've got very itchy neck. I've got sort of a big patch on my finger here. It's a little bit better now, but it has been really, really bad for a long time. And I just keep thinking, like, what is going on? And I know that sometimes when I do go to other people's houses, I have the same issues. And I couldn't quite figure it out what it could be, but I think I've realised that it's because it's very damp in this house. So another thing that I find tends to make my skin really itchy is if I sweat. And so that kind of makes sense. So the fact that there's damp and there's, you know, and sweatiness, that's still like sort of extra moisture. For some reason, my skin just doesn't like that, which is fine. And I thought, oh, okay, it's the damp. You know, we've only got 2 radiators in, we've ordered some in, we're gonna put them up and that'll be fine. But that wasn't enough for me. I just wanted to figure out, okay, but why is the dampness causing my skin to itch? And why does that bring back eczema? That doesn't make any sense to me. So I did a bit of research and essentially I found out that, you know, because there's lots of theories about the fact that, you know, it's to do with your gut and your gut is the center of your immune system and there's some imbalance there, there's something going wrong there that is essentially causing you to have lots of allergic inflammatory reactions to lots of things that you shouldn't do. I think that that's definitely the case because I know that I can tell the difference between when I've had eczema, for example, if I've been on holiday and I have been very careless with my diet, I tend to get eczema sort of down the back of my legs and I start sort of itching around my tummy and these sorts of things. But this week it hasn't been like that at all. So it's not necessarily to do with an internal thing. It's definitely something external. So I did a little bit more research on this and basically they have found that a lot of people with eczema are missing a certain type of protein in their skin called filaggrin or filaggrin. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. So I'm gonna science it up a little bit here, but basically filaggrin is it's an integral protein. Let me just read the definition that I wrote down. I'm not gonna try and remember it. It's a filament-associated protein that binds to keratin fibers in the epithelial cells. So essentially what that means, it's some kind of binding protein that binds together all the different fibers that your skin is made of. So your skin is made of, I'm sure you've heard of keratin, it's the main protein that your skin fibers are made of. You need to bind those together to keep it really strong. So what this filaggrin protein does, it is essential for keeping homeostasis in your skin. Homeostasis is essentially the scientific term for keeping everything in balance. So as an example, with temperature homeostasis of the body, if you get really hot, your body will start to produce sweat, the sweat evaporates and that will help to cool down. So your body has lots of different functions and mechanisms that it does to keep it in a certain state. So this filaggrin protein, this is very important for keeping that sort of state of balance in your skin. So one thing that it does, it helps to retain moisture and water into your skin. It binds with the water particles and helps to keep it sort of hydrated and moisturized. Another thing that it possibly does, although there's some debate around this, it helps to keep the pH levels regulated. So your skin is slightly acidic and it likes to be slightly acidic, and that's why if you put things, you know, detergents and soaps that are very alkaline, that can be very irritating to your skin. I think this is also the reason why the apple cider vinegar solution that I did a few weeks ago, and I do still use it now, it is very nice. I think that is why it works, because again, it sort of helps to keep the acidity regulated in your skin. So if you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link up here. So it's a pretty good trick that I found that if you're going through a flare-up, yeah. So what they have found that at least 50% of people with severe eczema have a filaggrin deficiency. They don't have this protein for whatever reason. Now with all these things, it's never black and white. It's not like if you have a filaggrin deficiency, you will have eczema, and vice versa. If you don't have a filaggrin deficiency, you will not have eczema. It's not the only cause, it's just something that they have found. But what I found was super interesting about this is because I have always focused on the internal things, and I've heard about, you know, it's all about the gut and keeping yourself healthy on the inside. And you know, absolutely that is going to be the number one thing to help you, but it's not the only thing. There are other things that are involved with eczema that basically means that your skin barrier is not functioning properly. There's also some debate as to why the filaggrin deficiency might happen. Some scientists think that it's a genetic thing, that you're born with that deficiency, and that makes you very prone to eczema or dermatitis or, you know, other skin disorders. Other people think that it could possibly be the fact that you're having inflammatory responses come out of your skin all the time, which eventually break down the filaggrin in your skin. It's a little bit of a chicken egg there, but I think basically what I've realized is that if you have internal sources of inflammation, and by that I mean, you know, poor diet, high stress, alcohol, these sorts of things, plus a poor skin barrier function, it is most likely that you will get eczema in some form or another. If I think about this in the context of what I've been doing in the past week, I think there's two things that were different in this week. Like I said, the first one is the fact that the flat it's been very cold and the flat has been very damp. You know, I've been waking up, there's loads of condensation on the windows, and it's basically sometimes dripping, and I can feel it in the air. Like, it feels cold and it feels damp. So I think that's the number one thing. But secondly, you know, I did just say that I've been starting doing lots of exercise, and I've, you know, haven't exercised in a little while, at least not super regularly. And it was weird because the first day or two that I did a lot of very hard exercise, my muscles are super sore, and I found it really hard to sleep. And I think that that caused some stress. There was a cortisol in my body. So it was like the two different things, that I had some internal kind of stress and inflammation going on, but then I also had the very damp flat, and that essentially just caused my eczema to come out in all these patches. And because, you know, a lot of my skin is protected, so everything that's under clothes seems to be absolutely fine, but it's, again, it's the areas that are exposed, those are the ones that seem to be most affected by eczema. But if you're also somebody who's, you know, you've followed a perfect diet, for whatever reason you still have eczema, there could be things in your environment that are also causing it. Plus you may or may not have this sort of impaired skin function. You know, both of those things together, that is essentially a recipe for, if not creating more eczema, at least keeping it there. So I'll put a link to a paper that I found in the description box below. I'd be really interested to hear if you know anything more about either filaggrin or your skin barrier function when it comes to eczema. I think that this is a really, really interesting and important area of research that I think needs to, you know, we need to look more into. So definitely please do leave a comment on that. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you again very soon for another one. Bye!